Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. My name's Jason Newland. Please only listen when you can safely close your eyes. This is Let Me Bore You to Sleep. And it's Tuesday the 3rd. I do apologise. Tuesday the 3rd of June 2025. It's 12:51 p.m. This is Tuesday, so therefore it must be Trivia Tuesday. Trivia Tuesday. Okay, alright, that's weird. I just clicked on something and it's disappeared. Where's it gone? Oh, there we go. Oh, blimey. Just having a quick look. What is where is it? Sorry, I just got distracted. I'm trying to find something. Okay, I did record the last couple of recordings I did, because I released one today, this morning, but I did it last night. No, I recorded it last night, rather. A bit sniffy today. It's weird. It's cold. It's colder inside than it is outside. But it's very windy outside and overcast and that, and it's been raining a bit. I took him out, Vinny. I took Vinny out for a while earlier. I took him out quite early. I think it's about 8:15. I got back about 9:05. And I took him out again about an hour ago, but just in the garden, because I didn't really fancy going out. I didn't, yeah. But there's things falling off the tree in the garden. I guess it would be in the garden. I mean, if I've just gone in the garden, I wouldn't be complaining about things falling off a tree on the beach, would I? But, there's whole branches falling down. Now, I know that they're deceivingly heavy, aren't they, some of these branches and trees? They look light because they're up high and they're just flopping around in the wind. But when they actually break off, some of them are the size of my torso. They're not, but you know what I mean, they're quite heavy. So I don't really want to be directly underneath them. But Vinny, he was pulling me towards a tree. It's almost like he'd already set up a booby trap or something. So yesterday, I did Monday's Boring Objects, which I think is a bit of a weird one actually. It went off in weird directions. And I also did Let Me Bore Your Pain Away number 37, Relaxation, and I released that this morning. So I do have a website, jasonnewland.com, where all my recordings are. I also have a Facebook page called Jason Newland's Boring Group, which you can join. The link is on my website as well. And YouTube channel at Jason Newland, where all 6 versions of the recording will be uploaded to YouTube. As far as making videos, I don't think I'm going to be bothering doing that anymore. I think it's kind of quite difficult to make them here regularly. I could do the odd one, but there's so little light coming into this building now because of the huge tree out the front, or out the back rather, and the neighbours screaming and shouting and stuff. It's just, and then Vinny making noises. It's quite difficult, and so I'm just going to stick to just the podcast, I think. Just the podcast, just my voice. Yeah. I'm trying to think, what was it that I did last Tuesday? What subject did I do? Let me bore your pain away. Stress relief. Q&A Friday. Trivia Tuesday. I suppose, okay, Trivia Tuesday, I talked about hypnosis. So what I'll do is I'll talk about something else. I don't know what though. What should I talk about? What trivial, what subject can I do a trivia on? Perhaps I should have been a bit more prepared, but clearly I'm not, am I? I don't know. What would be an interesting subject? Or a boring subject, but interesting to me, boring to everyone else. It's chilly. Mind you, I do have the window open, so I can't really complain. But I can complain because I just did. But I like to have the window open. I changed love to like because that seemed a bit of a weird. Love is it's a big word, isn't it? I just love having a window open. I like it. Do I love it? I don't know. Should I get on a recording? Maybe. So what could I talk about? Sometimes I get a little bit muddled up between the boring objects and the Trivia Tuesday, because when I'm thinking of something, I'll start thinking about things that I've done, and then I realise this isn't about what I've done. This is about trivia about a subject, isn't it? So although I can delve a little bit into, I can say whatever I want, can't I, really? But I try and stick to the rules, very limited rules, very, very, very tiny parameters. What could let's have a look. What can I talk about? What's an interesting thing? Mobile phones? Should we talk about mobile phones? No, let's talk about podcasts. Yeah. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to find me about, what am I doing? Mobile phones. No. What is it? I was going to do not mobile phones. Podcasts. About podcasts. From. Yeah, okay. Let's see what comes up. Check factual facts. Right, just see what comes up. I don't even remember the first time I even heard of the term podcasts. This is interesting. Okay. So the term podcasts come from combining iPod and broadcast. That makes sense, doesn't it? Podcast, iPod. I had an iPod. I didn't just have an iPod. I had the bestest iPod in the whole world. Like really, I think it was 250 gigabytes. And it was, I got it when I was at university, and I had so much stuff on there. Not just music, but I downloaded audio trainings, hypnosis trainings, NLP trainings, so much stuff. I mean, honestly, hundreds and hundreds of hours of hypnosis trainings that I would listen to. And for some reason, it got chucked out. So the term podcast was coined by Ben Hammersley. So I'll just let you know, don't use any of this information I give you as fact. You know, don't get into an argument with someone about it, like, because it might not be true. I'm just reading what it comes up with. It might all be fibs. So Ben Hammersley in 2004, in an article for The Guardian, came up with the term podcast. According to this, Dave Winter created the first audio RSS feed in 2003, laying the groundwork for podcasting. Now, an RSS feed is something syndication. So all it means really is, I'll give you an example. So I create my podcasts on Spreaker. So my very main podcast is Hypnosis for Sleeping Deeply. That's my main podcast. But let's go back to, let's say, relax. That's where I put all of my recordings. But I've also got the Let Me Bore You to Sleep podcast, which is my second main podcast. And so I upload the recordings there, all 6 versions. The RSS it's basically RSS feed. It's a website. It's a Spreaker show, and then whatever the show is in an episodes /feed. I'm not sure if it's yeah. So that's all it does. So what it does, it then spreads. Whoever's got that feed, Apple Podcasts, for example, Spotify, all the different podcast apps that are out there, will then update the newest recordings. So I guess the fact that it's got syndication in there, it is a little bit just like you're syndicating, like they do on radio shows or TV shows maybe, where one particular episode goes out to all the different channels. It's a little bit like that. I'm not think I've really explained it very well, but 2003, because I remember, because I started pretty much 2006. I think I got my first podcast, and I started using podcasts. Because Ah, yeah. I'm just remembering stuff. So Christopher Lydon's Radio Open Source is considered one of the first true podcasts launched in 2003. Okay, I've not heard of that one. Adam Curry developed iPodder. I remember that. An application that allowed users to download internet radio broadcasts to their iPods. I remember iPodder. I think they used to do that for podcasts as well. I think because there used to be these different websites where you just added your RSS feed of your podcast and it then distributed it to different places. So I used to ping it, I think they used to call it. So I used all of those back in the day. I'm sure I heard a little kid, there was this walking the dogs, and there was this, I don't know, 5 kids walk past. No more than probably 9 or 10. And I'm sure I heard one of them say, back in the day, I used to climb that tree. It's like, what do you mean back in the day? Do you mean last week? Back in the day. Apple integrated podcasts into iTunes in 2005. So that doesn't... Oh, okay, yeah. So 2005, significantly boosting the medium's popularity. So that was before my time. Before I started doing what I do. The first video podcast, and I also didn't have my first podcast, my iPod. I think my first one was in 2008. The first iPod I bought, manual thing. I wasn't interested in them, but once I bought it, I was like, wow. And back then you could download stuff for free. Like any album you wanted, everything was, free back then. It's not anymore. The first video... The thing is, I didn't feel bad about downloading most of the stuff I downloaded, because it was just copies of albums that I'd already purchased anyway. It's just a lot easier to listen to them on the iPad or on the iPod. The first video podcast, or vodcast, is believed to be Dead End Days, a serialized dark comedy released in 2003. Okay. So it wasn't called a podcast back then, though, because that term wasn't around, apparently. In 2006, UK comedian Ricky Gervais, his podcast became the most downloaded podcast in the world, earning a Guinness World Record. I remember that. He was on... I forget the... what was the name of that? I wonder if I have it on mine. If I look at the statistics, sources, no, I am on there, but I'm sure he's on Luminosity. Let me check. Luminosity, Luminosity, Ricky Gervais. I wonder. Oh, what are you doing? Okay. Nope, it's not giving me human. Right, okay, so luminosity, Ricky Gervais is coming up with humanity, so it's not giving me that. I'm pretty sure it was on luminosity. I might be completely wrong though. In fact, I think I possibly am. Maybe. It was on a podcast anyway. The problem I had back in the day was not climbing trees, but it was easier back then because I wasn't doing so many recordings. But once I started doing longer stuff, and more often a lot of the podcast hosts would not cover it. You know, they'd be limited by their bandwidth, limited by their space, their memory or whatever of holding on to stuff. This is before iClouds were around as well, so it was, or cloud computing rather. So it was, there was a lot of limitations, which is why I started off just having it on my website to start with. Then this was like the beginning of 2006, and then when I found a podcast, I was able to, a podcast host called Free Podcast Host, I do believe. Free Podcast Host. freepodcasthost.com. See if I've remembered it right. No, it's not coming up. Free podcast. I wonder if I put in an image, maybe it comes up. Free podcast. Okay, so if I go back, original podcast hosts 2006. Let's have a look. I wonder. I can't. Hosting. Maybe I put hosting. And I don't need to put UK, do I? Because, okay. Podcasts. I tell you what's weird is I've noticed this a little bit more recently. It might be due to AI or I don't know. And in some ways I'm not complaining, but some of the old stuff doesn't seem to be on the internet anymore. I remember there was a time when I'd put something looking for now and I'd get a post from like 15 years ago, or a page from 15 years ago, or a website that wasn't even around anymore. But now it seems to be, which is kind of what it should be doing, I guess, is keeping it more up to date. But you know, I just I know the podcast I'm looking for doesn't exist anymore, but it definitely did. But I can't remember. It was Free Podcast. Free Podcast. Was it just freepodcast.com? Maybe. Freepodcast.com. Well, it's not there anymore. Yeah, it's definitely not. I know it's not there anymore, but it's not even I thought there'd be mentions, you know. Someone would be like there, oh, what, do you remember the free podcast host called Free Podcast? Do you remember that? Like, yeah. But no one seems to be talking about it. Maybe there's a reason for that. Free podcast. No, it's Spreaker. Free podcast host. I tell you what, this touch screen is playing up. All I'm trying to do is just move it up and down. It's like every time I touch an image, it's clicking on it. Well, it's clicking, it's opening it up. Free podcast. Yeah. Ah, well. It's gone. I mean, I know it's gone. It hasn't been around. I had... I've talked about this before, but it was going really well on there because I had that. What was it? 2007. I don't know, because I was on MySpace, my audios and my videos. Then I found I got a poo bag in my pocket. Oh, I had to chuck that in the bin when I go out. Oh dear. I wonder what that smell was. I thought it was just me. I started using the podcast Free Podcast Host, or Free Podcast Hosting, and it was really good. Really, really good. And it was the main one out of, you know, it was just the main podcast, I think, in the world at the time, because it was free. So most people, I guess, were using it. So there was that degree of kind of migrating from MySpace to Free Podcast Host, because before that I didn't even know what the word podcast meant. I might have heard the phrase, but didn't know what it was, because I didn't class what I was doing as podcasts anyway. I still feel the same, really. Every recording that I do is a standalone piece of art. I may be the only one that actually believes that, which is fair enough. 2007, there were over 115,000 English language podcasts available online. Now, it's not that many. I mean, you wouldn't want 115,000. If it was 115,000 chickens, you wouldn't want them in your bathroom. You know, so it is a lot of chickens. But as far as podcasts go, in the world, English language podcasts, so there's quite a few English language speaking countries that could be making podcasts. So 115,000 isn't a huge amount, I would say. I don't know, I might be wrong. Maybe it is, but I was one of them. I was definitely one of those people. I was one of the first out of 115,000. There was a BBC show called In Our Time, and it was the BBC's first programme made available as a podcast in 2004. Oh, look at this. The People's Choice Podcast Awards were established in 2005 to recognise excellence in podcasting. I've never been invited to that. Where's my props? Where's my props? It's like I don't exist. It's crazy. Popularity and growth. As of 2024, there are over 3 million podcasts and nearly 200 million episodes available. It's quite weird, isn't it? Because you think I'm probably about 10% of those episodes are mine. I've done so many. 200 million episodes. So 3 million podcasts. It'd be... I wish there was some kind of real life stat kind of thing where you could just see... I'd like to see kind of what numbers the really popular podcasters get. There are some websites you can sign up for, and it costs money to get access to certain stats, but I don't know how accurate they are. So over 60% of people listen to podcasts at least once a month. So this is now in 2025. And back in 2007, when I was on podcastpost.com or whatever it was called, I remember at the beginning of 2008, I was showing off, but I was showing my classmates at college the stats, and I'd had over 100,000 downloads of my podcasts in the time that I'd had that podcast. So I don't know how long I'd had it for, but I reached over 100,000, and I was super impressed, super happy, super everything, Superman. I was very... Did anyone see Superman and Lois or Lois on TV? I watched the very last episode the other day, and I was kind of surprised. I mean, they had action scenes and stuff, but it was a slow burner. When it was action, the action was good, but a lot of it wasn't action. A lot of it was just chatting. It's a little bit... The Walking Dead turned into a bit like that. The action scenes were brilliant in The Walking Dead, but the longer it went on, like the later seasons, the less action scenes there were. And the action scenes were still really good, but not as shocking, I guess, because having watched it for 35 years, you kind of get used to what's about to emerge. But it's I think when it first started, it was a little bit like the dynamite in Lost. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm saying, as far as a surprise goes, something that you just don't expect. Like, you're just not ready. It's like, wow, okay, didn't see that coming. Neither did he. And I mean, I don't want to spoil Lost, even though it is like 20 years old. But is it 20 years old? When did Lost finish? So Lost was aired from September 22nd, 2004 to May 23rd, 2010. Okay, so it's 15 years since it's been off air. But you know what? There's certain TV shows that I'd like to watch. Some that I've seen a few episodes. Some, when the whole box set was available, but I didn't kind of pursue it. Somewhere I've seen a few episodes, or maybe a whole season. Like 24, I watched the first full season, but I didn't kind of get into any of the others. I didn't watch the rest of it. But at the time, I think it was still running, and that's the thing. If there's a show that's still running, I kind of like to wait until it's all complete and then watch it from start to finish. And there's a few shows, if I put in like the best TV shows, best bingeable, if I put bingeable, because let's have a look. If I put, I'm going to go to Rotten Tomatoes here. I'll tell you which ones I agree with. So the best haunting, this is number 25. This, no, I don't think they're really aiming at me. They've missed out a lot of, maybe I just, perhaps bingeable was, I suppose bingeable could mean something you can get through quite quickly. You know, I don't know, I'm not sure, but according to this, The Haunting of Hill House was number 25. The Great British Break Off, 24. That's not really my thing. The Westworld, I watched the first season of that. I did like it, but I didn't watch any more. I remember the very original one with Yul Brynner. Orange is the New Black. I used to watch that. I watched a few seasons of that and then I stopped. I used to get those on from Blockbusters. Lucifer, I've seen quite a few of those ones. Seinfeld. So yeah, I've seen quite a few of those. Is Julia Louis-Dreyfus, is she related to the Jaws man? Anyone? Is she related to the, what's his name? Richard, is it Richard Dreyfuss? I'm going to have a look, because she might be, mightn't she? There are some famous actors that are related to other famous actors that have kind of, I don't know, just basically are not necessarily known. They've not, maybe not made their way because of that. Gerard Louise Dreyfus. So no, maybe she might be related, but she's not his daughter. Relatives. No. Ah well. Never mind. So I go back. Community. I liked Community. I really did. It was just funny. And especially seeing Chevy Chase. He's so grumpy in that. And I think he left the show or got kicked out of the show and then maybe he went back, I don't know. But he was, for me, he was the best part of the show. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I kind of don't want to watch that again because I've seen it. I watched it when it was on first time round. And yeah. I mean, I also watched Angel. Really liked Angel. It was, in some ways I preferred Angel because it was more grown up. It was a bit more, I don't know, because that was during the 2000s, wasn't it? Angel. Or late 90s, 2000s. Yeah. Yeah, because Buffy the Vampire Slayer was in the 90s, wasn't it? And so I used to watch Angel. That used to be on a bit later at night. It was a bit more adult, and I liked it. And Sherlock, I've seen all those, so I don't need to watch that again. That was really good. I liked that. Mindhunter, I've never seen it. perhaps I need to look up that one up. Mindhunter. Fleabag, I've seen that. If you haven't seen Fleabag, then I recommend it. It's funny, it's different, it's very different from probably anything you'll see, you know. Marvel's Daredevil. Marvel's Daredevil, the first in a planned series of shows detailing the Marvel Universe Daredevil. What did it say, the first in a planned series of shows? I mean, what on earth has it done there? It's just kicked me out. Don't kick me out. Why would you do that to me? Wow. I thought the list would be a bit more, I don't know, based on things like Bad Men. Is it Ad Men? Bad Men? And Badminton? Bad Men? Things like that. You got the Marvel's Mrs. Maisel. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, not the Marvels. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I watched a couple of those episodes. Black Mirror. It's a strange show, that is. Friends. I've seen Friends. I don't want to watch it again. But I watched it, you know, when it was on first time. I liked it. The Boys. Really good show. If you like superheroes, and if you've never heard of The Boys, and you like adult stuff, then check that out. It's on Amazon, and it's really it is just that you're going to see things you've possibly never seen before in a TV show, but it's very good. I liked it, and it's all because it's about these superheroes, but they're not really particularly good, some of them. I've been watching it for a few years now, and let's have a look at I don't know when the next season is out, if there is another season coming out. When did it start? Also, they did a Gen V, which was like a shoot-off from that. That was also really good, but they never did more than one season. I don't know why. So let's have a look. I'm going to click on seasons, see what comes up. Season 1, Season 4, 2024. So yeah, I'm waiting for season. Yeah, maybe. The first season was 2019, Season 2 2020, then the next one was 2022, then the next one was 2024. I mean, the season 20 was probably made in 2019, and then 2020 probably had to take a year out, couldn't do so much. Yeah, but I like it. It's really weird because Anthony Starr is in it, and I was looking and thinking, you look familiar, and I couldn't figure it out. Could not figure it out at all. And I was looking, what did he do? And he was in a TV show, if I can find it. Where is it? Banshee. If you've never seen Banshee, it's a really good show. It's good. And he's in that, but he plays such a different character. For one, he's not wearing a superhero costume. So I guess that just shows you, people going about Superman, all he does is take his glasses off. and he's Superman. No, he doesn't. He puts on a costume, doesn't he? And that costume does make someone look different. If I turned up dressed as Superman, for example, and a big cape and boots and a thong, I'm going to look different. And if I take my glasses off, I'm going to look different. You know, I'm not going to do it to test the theory, but the fact is, it's not just, oh, he just took his glasses off. Why don't people recognise him? No, he has a different hairstyle, doesn't he, when he's Superman? Especially the new Superman, because the new Superman's got really curly hair when he's Clark Kent. They're not released it yet, but it's coming soon. I'm looking forward to that because I love superhero movies. Love them, love them, love them. I watch every single one that there ever will be. I'm serious. Any superhero movie, I don't listen to the critics. I watch the movie, and I will continue to do that forever because I love superhero movies. There's no such thing as a bad one for me. There's better ones and ones that aren't as good as others, but they're all standalone. They're all, even the 1978 or 77 Spider-Man. It'd be silly to compare that with the Spider-Man of 2022. But it's still it was still great. I don't really want to watch it though, not now. And I think I'd struggle to watch it without laughing. But it's just because, the walking up the wall was basically just crawling along the floor. And they had a camera. So, okay, if you haven't seen Spider-Man from 1978, I don't want to ruin it for you. But it's almost like you can see that he's just crawling along the floor. But at the same time, it's brilliant. It's no different really from Batman. Batman climbing up a wall, and they're clearly on the floor. But not the movies. I don't mean the TV show though is still one of the best TV shows I think ever. The Batman TV shows, just funny. So great, so colourful, so just... It's a little bit like the Star Trek. It's almost perfect, in a weird way. Now, there was a time I used to think, the original Star Trek, especially when the original... Okay, I used to watch the original Star Trek. It was repeats because I wasn't alive when the original one came out. But I used to watch it probably late 70s, early 80s. It used to be on BBC Two about 6 o'clock. 5:30, 6, 6:30, something like that. And I'd watch it. And they'd repeat and they'd keep showing episodes over and over again. And I loved it. And then in about 1990, was it 94? Was it 95? Was it 92? When did Star Trek Next Generation, when did that start? I'm sure it was late 90s, but it was definitely around... No, it was definitely around in 94 because I was in Ireland watching it. 1987. So when that came out, I refused to watch it. I was very, very, very angry. I'm not watching that. How can that compete with the original Star Trek? And back then I was a bit... I don't like to say it now, considering what I look like, but how can you have a bald man in the main cast? But now I'm also a baldy. I kind of think, well, yeah, that seems to be the right thing. I think every single position of authority should have someone like me, a baldy. Don't F with the baldies. Don't F with the Wongs. That's the Wanderers, sorry. Leave the kid alone. I said leave the... Anyone remember the Wanderers? I don't want to spoil the movie. And it's... Was it early 80s? See, I have answered this question a few times. What's your favourite movie and stuff? And I always say It's a Wonderful Life. It's a Wonderful Life. It's my favourite movie. And it is. However, I do have other movies that I adore. Like, adore. Really just like want to cuddle. Have this... something I could watch. There's not many movies I could just watch any time and just be happy watching it. It's a Wonderful Life is one of those. Although I don't watch it all the time. I mean, it loses its charm, but I probably watch it maybe once or twice a year. Another one would be The Wanderers. I did like the Warriors, but that was a bit gritty. I didn't mind it being gritty, but at the time, the thing I liked about the Wanderers is the music, the 60s music, or was it 50s music, wasn't it? I'm the type of guy who would never settle down. I'm never in one place. I go from downtown. And they were all so cool, and all the different gangs. And it's weird because I watched it recently, well, a few months ago, and it's way grittier than I remember. There's parts of it that are actually really horrible. I was like, wow. But I just remember the funny bits, like big girls don't cry, big girls, and things like elbow tit and silly things that they were doing in the movie. And I forgot that there was like some pretty not so wonderful bits, but I still got a fondness for it. And there's something about leave the kid alone, and he was protecting people. I like that. That just felt nice. What's the other one? Groundhog Day. Love Groundhog Day. It's another perfect movie. It just is. I don't know why. To me, I mean, I don't know why it's so perfect. But it ticks all the boxes that I look for. That I would, it's feel good. It's funny. It's emotional. I guess it's romantic. I guess, yeah, it is romantic, isn't it? But it's, I don't go for romantic movies. Although I've watched a lot, Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail. It's the same people, wasn't it? Was it the same two people in both of those movies? Sleepless in Seattle. Was it the same two people? Meg Ryan, Sleepless in Seattle, Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. So You've Got Mail. Was Meg Ryan in that one as well? Or was that someone else? You've Got Mail. Oh, the problem is with people like Tom Hanks is it's hard to find their filmography because they've got so many. It's been going since 1980. That's over 15 years. The Burbs. I like The Burbs, actually. That was a good movie. It's funny. Sleepless in Seattle. You've Got Mail. So Sleepless in Seattle was 1993. You've Got Mail was 1998. It's Meg Ryan again. So what is that about? How can you have two movies, and they were both big movies, okay, a few years apart, but how can you have, and they were both big hits, how can you have two movies both based on like a love affair, and it's got the same two characters? I don't know why it took so long to finish that sentence, because we all knew what the sentence was going to be, didn't we? We all knew what I was going to say. I didn't really need to say it. They also appeared I don't know why I'm screaming. They also appeared in Joe versus the Volcano. Another romantic comedy. Why? Were they kind of together or something? Were they in a relationship? Is that why they did so many movies together? Or perhaps they were just really, 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 really good friends. Apparently, it's a cult movie. I don't really know what it's about. It was a box office success in the sense of it made more. It's cost 25 million budget and 39.4 million it made at the box office. So it wasn't the normal Tom Hanks huge success, but I don't know. That just confuses me. 3 movies. Were they married? Are they still married? Did Tom Hanks marry Meg Ryan? Well, according to this, no. She's married to Dennis Quaid. Or was married to Dennis Quaid. And this is another weird thing. You know, when you go looking through... I just remembered I'm supposed to be talking about podcasts. Whoops. Do you know I was talking about kids of actors going on and doing their own thing, but without... I'm not saying they didn't use their name, they didn't get a leg up because of who they were and being, you know, related or the child of a famous actor. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen, because it's just... I know all nepotism and whatever, but the fact is, you know, can you imagine if, let's say I was, if I was famous, let's say my dad was famous, right? Or let's say he was an electrician, so let's say he's famous for whatever he did, and I decide to do what he did. I want to do what, because a lot of people want to do what their parents did, don't they? Like, because they look up to their parents. I just had no interest in electrician stuff, and I've never really had any kind of skill with my hands, like that kind of stuff. You know, it just wasn't for me. I'm more of a, I was going to say more of a thinker, but I don't mean that in a negative way. Just I'm more of a, I don't know. It's just, it's just or talker. Probably more of a talker than a doer. I definitely prefer to talk than to do. Anyway, not all things, but anyway. So if he was famous at something and I wanted to follow him, let's say what could he be famous as? He was famous at making holes in walls, and I don't know what Vinny's up to over there. He's been really naughty. He's in the back over there, and he's like searching through some stuff, but he doesn't know I'm talking about him. All I can see is his bum. He's trying to get something from behind the sofa. He's got no idea I'm talking about him. I'm just... He does now. He's literally staring at me. Why are you staring at me? Oh, he's brought his food bowl over and just dropped it at the side. He never does that. He's pushed it towards me. Didn't pick it up, I don't think, but he pushed it towards me, and he never does that. So I think, well, he just clearly did, didn't he? But I'm thinking maybe he wants some more food. He'll have to wait. I'm being very strict with him at the moment because he didn't eat his food for about 2 weeks. He just kept like leaving it. He did eat, but he just kept leaving it, and I got him some food that he liked, and I decided I'm just going to get it for him and give it to him, and if he eats it, if he doesn't, I'll take it away. And now he's getting used to sort of not having to eat it, and I don't mean straight away. I mean, if I leave it out and he hasn't eaten it within an hour, it goes away in the fridge. So now he's getting to realise that I think he's getting to the point where he's actually hungry for some food, instead of me putting food out when he's not hungry. I think that made sense. So, let's say my dad made holes in walls, and he was the best at making holes. They were glorious holes. No, I'm not going to go. And I decided I wanted to make holes in. Now this doesn't make sense. This just sounds silly. That's okay. Dennis Quaid was a famous actor. His son comes along and decides he wants to be an actor. Dennis Quaid, or Jack Quaid, is going to have grown up as a child through his life being around other famous actors, directors, producers, his whole life, or during the life, for quite a few years, for however long he's been around, for 30 odd years. So that's the life he knows. So when he becomes an actor, decide I'm going to be an actor when he's maybe in his late teens or whatever, early 20s, whatever time he decided to do that, pursue it, he's going to be going for auditions with people who know who he is, like physically know who he is, maybe seen him since he's a little kid growing up. And yeah, it's going to be beneficial for him. It's going to make a difference. But the thing is, Jack Quaid is really good. I didn't even know who he was. I didn't know he started, his first role was a minor role in the Hunger Games 2012. But the first time I really saw him was 2019, The Boys. That was that superhero thing I was talking to you about. Although they're not really superheroes, they're very naughty heroes. And he was recently in a movie called Novocaine and two different movies. I watched both of them, Companion and Novocaine, and they were both good. Both really good movies. Very different, but he's a good actor. He's 33, so I kind of think, well, Randy Quaid. Who's Randy Quaid? Randy Quaid. He's an American actor and comedian. I'm looking at a picture of him. I don't really recognise him. He was in... he was a cousin on Chevy Chase's National Lampoon. He was the cousin in that. I remember that, I think. Wasn't he also in the Grinch? Not the Grinch, but the Christmas... It was like a Christmas... Father Christmas, but the opposite to that. I'll know it when I see it. It would be the last probably 10 years or so. Wow. Let me see. So if I go back to... What? He's been in a lot of things. He hasn't been in anything since 2018. Real times. Wonder why that is. He must have. Maybe he's just been doing TV stuff. Oh, he's been in lots of things anyway. He wasn't in the thing I was thinking about. Mind you, is this TV or is it movies? No, it's movies and TV, a bit of both. Roommates Precinct. Oh. Hard Rain. Nope. He seems to be one of these actors that is... He was in Brokeback Mountain. So he was in a lot of movies, or TV movies and TV shows where he wasn't necessarily the star, but he was like a co-star, or he was a part of the cast. And, well, let's face it, they're the ones that make up most of the show, don't they? I don't mean bit actors, but just actors in movies. You know, they're the ones that, if it wasn't for them, if it was only the stars in the show, then every movie would be like the George Clooney one in space, where there's only 2 members of cast, which worked for that movie, but probably not for everything. Wouldn't work so much in a Titanic, would it, if there was only 2 people? How did Hollywood manage to turn Titanic, the worst aviation disaster in history, how could they turn that into a love story? It just boggles me still. I can't watch it. I just like, the music's wonderful, the you know, the everything, the you know, the detail of the ship, all that stuff is amazing. But, and also we got to see, you know, there was that scene. But why? How? Oh. I'm sure I watched that her when she's being drawn. Should we call it just the drawing scene, or was it painting, drawing, on a Sunday afternoon? Which is unusual to see things like that on British television during the day. I think they must have just forgotten. Or maybe it was Christmas and they were just giving everyone a bit of a treat. A nipple treat. Let's have a look. Downton Abbey. I watched the very first episode of Downton Abbey at Christmas period when I was at my dad's for Christmas. Probably 2013, was it? 2013. 2010, really? So yeah, okay, over 60% of people listen to podcasts at least once a month. I'm back. Podcast listeners are highly engaged, with 71% tuning into episodes within 25 hours of release. Most listeners subscribe to over 3 podcasts per week. favouring shows with regular releases. Okay, well I'm fairly regular. Ask my toilet. Me. 34% of Americans listen to podcasts weekly, up from 26% in 2022. Sweden leads the world in podcast consumption, with 47% of respondents indicating they listened to a podcast in the last 12 months. So hello Sweden. Have I got any Swedish people that listen? If you're from Sweden, please say hi. Please say hi. My Swedish, beautiful Swedish audience. Anyone from Sweden? Anyone from Sweden? Let's have a look. This is the main on my speaker podcast. So United States, United Kingdom, then Canada, Australia, Spain, Ireland, Denmark, Norway, New Zealand, United Arab Emirates. Right. I'm going to go a little bit more deeper on this one. Go for the last year. So United States, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, Denmark, Spain, Norway, France, Germany, Iceland, the Netherlands, Sweden. Okay, so Sweden is on that list. Iraq, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, Turkey. Used to be called Turkey, now it's Turkey. See, I'm getting good, aren't I? India, Singapore, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Belgium, Czechia, and others that's not listed, but there's quite a few others that aren't there. So that's the top countries. Can I not get all the countries? Nope, it's not giving me all the countries. So in Sweden, according to this, Stockholm County, Västra Götaland County, Östergötland County, Skane County. There's a lot of counties here. Blekinge County, Örebro County. By the way, I realise I'm very likely mispronouncing these words, but I'm doing my bestest. Fast Manland County, John Coping, that's the only one without a county on it. Uppsala County. Why does that ring a bell? Holland County, Gavlenborg County, Dalarna County, Värmland County. The thing is, the whole, when the new Star Trek came out, I was very kind of anti, in the sense of, it's not going to be better than the original. Why bother? Why bother with the original? And then when I started watching it, so I didn't watch it for years. I wouldn't watch it, and then I started watching it, and I loved it. And then I felt like I could never go back to watch the original, because that would just be rubbish compared to this. So I didn't watch the original for decades, and then I've seen the original recently. It's been on, I don't know where it was, but I watched it, and the original's still brilliant. If you bearing in mind it's old, and if you're not watching it because of you want to see the special effects, which were pretty special at the time, but they were funny. They had good stories, good dialogue, good. They were good. I liked them. Still do. So that was Sweden. don't know. It's not giving me. Okay. The thing is, I found out a while ago. Maybe let me know. Go to my website and just send me a message if you're from China, because I had some messages a while back saying you've got to me that I got a following in China, but people they can't get me on the Chinese internet, so they use what do they call it? DNS, not DNS. It's like an app that you can use which changes what country you're in, so you can gain access to other countries' content. Is it DNS? I don't know what the right word is. So I'd be interested to know how many people from China are listening, because I don't get those stats. I don't get the stats from China. I don't get the stats from... He's talking about the stats again. I know. Oh, I know. I mean, I don't even get the stats from... I'm sure must get for people from Thailand and... I mean, Germany's not even on there. Yes, it is. United States, United Kingdom, Spain, Ireland, Canada, Australia, Ireland. So it's the Netherlands, Belgium. So I kind of upset everyone in Belgium, because people in Belgium still listen to me, because you probably realise that I actually really like Belgium. But I don't have to like your country for you to listen. I don't have to like my country to listen. All countries are different, and we have different experiences. I mean, you might come to England and think, ooh, but you might come another time and think, yeah, it's different. I think that's very expressive of me. Right. Ooh, listen to the... Ooh. In Australia, over 1 billion podcasts were downloaded in 2023, with January 2024 alone seeing 90.3 million downloads. Wow, that's a lot, isn't it? I mean, I know I've got an Australian audience. I know that. It seems to move between, so United States is, and always has been up to this point, the top, like the place where I'm listened to most. United Kingdom comes second. There was a time when the United Kingdom didn't even come second. It took ages for me to get anyone from my own country to listen. I think Australia and Canada was above me, above my own country. But now it's a firm second. Then Canada, then Australia. I mean, that's just in the last 30 days. If we go for the last 12 months, it's Australia's third. So United States, United Kingdom, Australia, then Canada, then Ireland, then New Zealand. And I suppose that does make sense, where these are generally English-speaking countries. I say English like as English would quite often, I say often, be the first language. So in the United States, in the United Kingdom, Australia, Ireland, I know everyone, they've got their own language as well, but Canada, there's parts of Canada that have French, I realise, and New Zealand. So they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6 countries, probably the 6 main countries where English is the prominent or the dominant language, I would say. Perhaps I might be wrong. I might be completely wrong. And you got South Africa. A lot of people would speak English in South Africa. I don't know what the level of English is in other countries, because I don't know. Is there a way of listening to me through some kind of? It's just, I'm guessing if someone doesn't speak English, they wouldn't be listening to me, unless, I mean, they got an interpreter shouting in their ear. I don't know. Or is there a way of listening to this and it's speaking in a different language? Now, I'm able to do that in there's a website called LMBYTS. So I can not transcribe, I can not mute. What's the right word? What's the right dub? I can dub my recording into different languages with pretty much my voice. So I've got that all set up if I wanted to do it, but it's expensive. 11 Labs. I'll tell you, right, 11 Labs. 11 Labs. Let's have a look. So login. Sometimes I leave it so long between logins that I forget what my login information is. So you got dubbing. Okay, click on dubbing. So I can do localized content across 29 languages with AI dubbing. So I can use my voice. So I've got the voices on here. Get started. Okay, where is it? My voices. 54-year-old English Jason AI. So I did this. When did I do this? Quite a while ago, because I was playing with it, just seeing, just seeing what it sounds like. View history. Okay, let's view history. Maybe that lets me know when I did it. When I first did it. 5 months ago. Right. So I can upload a recording and dub it into a different language. The problem is it costs. It really do cost money. And I'm just going to try and see what I've got. 10,000 credits. So this but that doesn't give you much. So if I go to upgrade, I'll tell you what I can get. I go for monthly. I never do yearly. It does give you a less amount. See, I must have been really a little bit slow, in the past. But sometimes I'd look and it says build. I didn't realise it says because quite often they say, okay, £18.33 a month, or you can pay £29 a month. It's like, I'm going to go for the £18.33 a month, not realising that they were going to take off a whole year's worth of, like, all in one go. So I'm very careful to click build monthly. Let's have a look. For the very first one, it's free forever, but you get 10,000 vote tokens. I don't know what that gives you. Not much. You got the £5, the $5 starter. So that's for like a hobbyist. £22 a month gives you 100,000 tokens, and then a 30 cents per thousand. And then you've got the Pro $99 for creators ramping up their content productivity, and then $330 a month for startups and publishers. So I would probably need that one. In fact, I probably need the higher one, so 1,320 a month for rapidly scaling startups and publishers. I mean, let me just see how many tokens it takes to do a dubbing. So if I do creating a dub, untitled product there, just put in the, and I'm going to upload an audio. Upload. I'll click to upload here. So let's go to downloads. Really? That's weird. Okay. Focusing. I want to find something that isn't too big. Okay. Focusing on a pleasant feeling. So this is only 20 minutes long. So detect. So I've got one speaker. Select languages. So I've called it DS, DSS, double D, DS, SDD, or whatever. Language is English. Target language. Should we say? What about? What country should we go for? What about Australian? I haven't got Australian here. Japanese. Let's go French. Let's go French. Don't have enough credits to create this dub. Right. What it needs to do though is tell me how many credits I need, because it's not. How many credits do I need? It's not telling me, man. Perhaps if I do it to a different language it'll be less credits. Chinese. No, it's not less credits. Credits remaining before this dub, 10,000. But what is that for? For how long? Is that for a minute? Is that for 10 minutes? Is it, you know? What is it? I don't know. So if I go Spanish, don't have enough credits to create this dub. So yeah, it's not going to do it for me. Disable voice cloning. Number of speakers 1. I've got the upload. It's 21 minutes. Oh, it says upgrade your plan. Adjust this time range. So I just don't know. It's not. Oh, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Dubbing. Starter kit credits, monthly credits 30,000, which isn't a lot considering they gave me 10,000. I've already used that already up before I'd even done a recording. That wasn't enough. So 30,000. $5 a month for 30,000 credits is, what's that going to give me? 15 minutes? 20 minutes? Speech to speech 30 minutes. Minutes of speech to speech. Voices, custom voices, 10 voices. Professional voice cloning. I've already got that anyway done. Access to a studio. Maybe I can't use my voice unless I'm in a higher bracket. Speech to text. Price per hour. Speech to text API. Hours included. Price per hour included. Conversion AI. Narrative. Audio narrative. Native. Audio native. Automatic dubbing. Here we go. So minutes of video. No, minutes of video. I don't want video. I want audio. Why is it doing video? So it gives me 15 minutes of video with a watermark. Automatic dubbing. or the dubbing studio gives me 6 minutes of video. This is for 30,000 credits. 6 minutes of video with a watermark. So I'm guessing maybe that's the same. So what it's telling me, if I'm correct, is just to do that one recording is going to cost me over $20 just for that 20-minute recording, which seems ridiculous. How can that be? How can it be? It don't make sense to me. Vinny's staring at me again. Why is he staring? So if I go back to the dubbing, let's see what Spanish. I want to see body scan, view. I view it. Number of speakers, upload, credits used. Okay, good. It's given me. This lasted for 7 minutes and 33 seconds. So this is turning an English, me talking in English, to Spanish. 22,686. So based on that, do you see what I mean? It's not financially feasible. It would cost a lot of money to start doing. I mean, I'd do it if it was worth, you know, if, for example, in Germany people were going to listen, like, you know, it's like, oh, if you changed it to German, you'd be very popular and you'd have millions of people listening, then I would try and start to do some. But it's not, yeah. 22,000 for 7 minutes. It just makes me wonder, like, in reality, I get 500,000 for $100 a month, 100,000 for, so 22,000. So let's say 25,000, 25, 50, 25, 50, 25, 100. Okay. So $22, that's 7, 14, 28. So it's near, probably about 30 minutes I can get for $22 a month. 30 minutes of dubbing. And I go to the $99 a month. So that's 500. So I can get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So basically 2, 4, 6, an hour and 40 minutes. So I can get an hour and 40 minutes for $99. Or, you know, as we go up higher, it's more. Then it's less for additional credits. I just don't know. I mean, for me, right? Why not just have it at a set price and not do? Because if I'm going to pay for a service, I don't really want to have additional things or have limitations. A bit like when I was doing podcasts, quite a few of the podcast hosts would limit how many hours of recordings I could upload in a week or in a month, or some of them limit how many downloads you can get. So the more popular the podcast becomes, the more they charge you. I was like, what? Talking of podcasts, did you know that podcasts are increasingly being consumed on smart speakers, with 39% of smart speaker owners listening to podcasts at least once a week? No, I don't. I don't use a smart speaker. I used to have one, but it used to just keep coming on whenever I mentioned a certain name, so I just got rid of it. Around 26% of podcast listeners increase the playback speed while listening. Oh, do you do that? I think people would have to make it slower because I talk too fast. Can you imagine someone listening to me on fast forward like twice as fast? It kind of defeats the object, I would argue. So the next bit, 56% of podcast listeners are male, while 44% are female. It's statistics is still a guess, isn't it? You know, just because you ask 1,000 people in the street, and you know, do you prefer broccoli or oranges, and you get 50%, 56% say they prefer broccoli, to the other percent being 44% being oranges. It doesn't really, it's like, doesn't mean you can just say, okay, the entire country now, based on that 1,000 people or that 100 people, that's the statistics now, and that's going to be exactly accurate for the rest of the country. What if you just happen to, you know, you turn up at a place to do that survey, and there's a big broccoli convention going on. You know, I love broccoli. Everyone's wearing I love broccoli t-shirts. So they're fanatics about broccoli. Of course they're going to like broccoli more than oranges, probably more than anything, possibly even more than Lego. But you see what I mean? It's all these statistics are just kind of, just seems a little bit. I mean, they do that with when it comes to polling, don't they? It's like, well, the polling, we've done polling, and it's going to be this because we've gone into the streets and questioned people, and this is what's going to happen because we've asked people questions. And like, no, it doesn't mean that. I mean, if nearly every single person you see answers the same question, then there's a good chance it might be, you know, worth listening to. 65% of consumers, podcast consumers, are most likely to listen to episodes on a mobile device. I do. I listen on my website. If I listen to my website, my podcasts, I listen on my website. It's just so easy. It's really easy. I just find it's the easiest way to do it. Or pretty much. I go on YouTube as well sometimes. Podcasts account for 10% of all content that millennials listen to. So what's a millennial? Is that me? Is that someone born before the turn of the century? Is that what a millennial is? Or is it someone born after the turn of the century? I'm not sure. I don't know what I am. I know I'm not a baby boomer because that's my dad's generation. I'm not Gen V or Gen X or Gen Z or Gen... I don't know what I am. I'm just old. Podcasts are often consumed during commuting, making them a popular choice for on-the-go entertainment. And I used to listen to audio tapes when I was commuting, like self-help audios and CDs and stuff. Yeah, I did. Back in the day, as before I was into trees. Listeners appreciate the intimate and friendly nature of podcasts, which creates a connection similar to a friendship. Oh. Do you find this quite intimate? I do a little bit. I think just me and you, isn't it? I'm just talking. I'm waffling on, going on a bit, possibly. Maybe not always sticking to the subject, and you're listening patiently, possibly falling asleep. But out of boredom, even though we both know that this isn't boring, this is super exciting, really. And podcasts have cultivated an intimate listening experience, often involving highly produced narratives and host-driven storytelling. Well, this is not highly produced by any way. There's no script. There's no. I'm reading off a screen as far as the trivia facts or whatever, but there's no planning or anything like that. So it's not like it's been. I don't even have to say it, do I? It's not being professionally written before I read it out, because that's fairly evident, I would assume. Podcasts have cultivated. Oh, I've already read that bit out. Therapeutic nature of extended, unscripted dialogue in podcasts allow for a deeper, more personal conversations. Okay. I'll read that again. The therapeutic nature of extended, unscripted dialogue, which is what I do in podcasts, allows for deeper, more personal conversations. I mean, are they talking about two people talking to each other? Because it is kind of a one-way conversation, isn't it? But I think it feels quite deep and personal, personally. Podcasts offer a unique space for authentic conversations, allowing celebrities to connect with audiences in an age dominated by heavy mediated public personas. That was too long, too many words in that sentence. But yeah, I can understand a celebrity wanting to show who they really are, rather than the personality that's portrayed on television or whatever. That's why I do this, because, I just thought I was just so famous, always on the TV and in movies, and I thought I just want people to know what I'm really like, because I just came across as too exciting. That's what. Yeah. Podcasts have become a significant part of the media diet for many. I like that, media diet. With some listeners tuning in to multiple episodes daily. So this bit's now saying fun and surprising facts. Twitter was born from a failed podcasting platform called Odeo. I remember Odeo. In fact, I would have probably been with Odeo. I was with every single podcasting platform, and there was loads and loads and loads, and most of them went away. I don't want to say failed, but yeah, I guess that's probably the right word. Or because a lot of companies back in that time were getting funding. A lot of websites and online places were getting a lot of funding, and then they didn't all kind of get through the other end. It's the same with when YouTube was around, when it first started being around. There were loads and loads and loads of video sites where you could upload videos. YouTube wasn't the only one. It was the most popular, and it outlived all the others. But there was loads. In fact, one that I used to use called MetaCafe, and there's another one as well that I used to get more views on those than I did on YouTube, but they ended up closing down. I don't know about MetaCafe. I'm not sure if it's still around. MetaCafe. It was okay. It's not around anymore. It launched 2003. It was an Israeli video sharing website. During the mid-2000s, it was one of the largest video sharing websites, though it eventually began to be superseded by YouTube, Vimeo and Dailymotion. What? On 28th of August 2021, the platform's website became inactive. Now, Dailymotion is another one that I used to be with, and Vimeo, of course. Well, I say of course, but I was with all of them. Apparently, Dailymotion, is it not still around? Dailymotion is the world's largest independent video sharing website, based in Paris, started in 2005. But where is the website, Dailymotion? I'm just going to click on it, because I used to have loads of stuff on there. Dailymotion.com. I'm just going to see if I'm still on there, because I downloaded some videos from there that were from like years, like literally late 2000s. So I'm going to search for my name, see if I'm still on here. Jason Newland. Oh, it's not coming up. Something went wrong. Videos. If I click refresh. How strange. So maybe I am on there, it's just it's not coming up for some reason. In fact, nothing's coming up on here. I've got it open, dailymotion.com, but there's nothing on it. There's no videos, nothing. Explore. Oh well. I wonder if I search Dailymotion and put my name, see if anything comes up. Dailymotion, 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 Dailymotion. No. Dailymotion. Oh, yes, I found it. See my name, but the images aren't coming up for some reason. I was Buddhist J. That was my name back then. That's what I always came up as. So all the YouTube, the podcasts, all the videos, MySpace, everything, Buddhist J. That was the tag I had. I'm beginning to think that they have removed my stuff. It's definitely not coming up. I don't know why. I don't know why. Yeah. Oh well. Podcasts have been used for cultural or historic audio tours of cities. Okay, cool. Podcasts have been utilised by law enforcement agencies to provide a way for the community to get to know the department's officers. Cool. So, podcasts have been used by news outlets to distribute supplemental audio or video content. Yes and no. So there's quite a few facts about podcasts and podcasting. I didn't know if it was going to stick around, and because I know what to do if it doesn't, because I just have my website and I have all my recordings on there. But it's kind of like SoundCloud has been around forever, a long, long time, and although it's podcasting on SoundCloud, but it's also music, so they'll still be around even if podcasts stopped. I think SoundCloud will stick around. But then, you know, people said about YouTube, oh, YouTube will be gone. No one, people will get bored of YouTube. They haven't. It's probably as strong as it's ever been. There's probably more, I think more people watch YouTube, like they get their content on YouTube, watching visual content, videos or whatever, than on any other platform, including television, including Netflix, including everything else. YouTube has got the biggest viewership in the world. So, you know, maybe, hopefully, podcast will grow even more in the future, and maybe someone will hear about me and I'll get some viewers or some listeners. Yeah, it'll be groovy. So it'll be more than just me and you talking together. Yeah. Oh. So I'm going to go. So thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. Be gentle with yourself. You deserve to feel safe. Lots of love. Bye.